Here's the game plan. We'll start with what PSK actually is. Then, we'll get into why it's so incredibly critical. We'll look at how it lives and breathes throughout a facility's entire life. We'll also clear up a big point of confusion, the difference between knowledge and competency. And finally, we'll peek inside the library and see what it's made of.
All right, first things first, let's get a really solid handle on this idea. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but what are we really talking about?
So, when we say process safety knowledge, what pops into your head? Is it just a dusty shelf full of old binders sitting in some back office? I mean, yeah, kind of, but believe me, it is so much more than that. Okay, so here's the textbook definition. At its core, PSK is the disciplined work of gathering all that essential technical data about a process, getting it organized, and then making sure it's actually available when you need it. Think of it like a facility's official encyclopedia and rulebook, all rolled into one. And look, the key thing here is it's not just about having the information, it's about actively managing it. Okay, so we've got the what down, but let's talk about the why. Why is this stuff so absolutely critical? Well, the stakes are incredibly high. This is the big idea right here. PSK isn't just a bunch of data. It is the facility's memory. It remembers why that specific valve was chosen, or what really happened during that near miss 5 years ago, or what hazards are hiding in a particular chemical process. And when that memory goes, the organization gets a kind of amnesia. And you know what happens then? Disasters get repeated because the lessons were forgotten. And this is exactly why that amnesia is so dangerous. Without solid PSK, you can't possibly understand the risks you're dealing with. I mean, you're basically flying blind. It is the only real defense against what we call corporate amnesia, where vital knowledge just walks out the door when people retire or change jobs. Everything, and I mean everything, from your training programs to your operating procedures to incident investigations, it all leans on this core knowledge. The bottom line is, you simply cannot do a credible risk assessment without it, period.
So you might be thinking this is just some collection of documents you create once and then stick on a shelf. Nope, not at all. PSK is a living, breathing body of knowledge that grows and changes right along with the facility itself.
Think about it. It starts way back at the very beginning with the first conceptual drawings. Then, as you move into detailed engineering, you have outside experts adding huge amounts of information. During construction and commissioning, that knowledge gets handed over to the local team. They become its guardians. And throughout the entire life of the plant, it has to be constantly updated and used every day. And get this, even at the very end, during decommissioning, you need that knowledge to take the facility apart safely. It never stops being important.
All right, this next point is absolutely crucial, and it's a place where a lot of people get tripped up. See, having a library full of information is one thing, but actually knowing how to read the books and understand what they mean, that's something else entirely.
So look at it this way. PSK is the what. It's the documented facts, the drawings, the data sheets. It's the library, right? Competency, though, that's the human element. It's the skill, the experience, the wisdom to actually interpret what's in the library. PSK gives you the what, but competency is what gives you the all-important why. Let me give you a perfect example to make this crystal clear. Your PSK documents will tell you the technical specs of a heat exchanger, its size. But it takes a competent engineer using their judgment to know why it was designed 10 times bigger than it needed to be for normal operations. Maybe it was to handle a super rare but catastrophic emergency. That is the difference between just having data and having wisdom.
Okay, so we keep talking about this library of knowledge. Let's actually open the doors and see what's on the shelves. What does this stuff actually look like?
Generally, you can chop it up into 3 big chunks. First, you have process technology info. That's the chemistry and physics of how the whole operation works. Then you have hazard information, what can go wrong and just how bad it could be. And finally, you have all the equipment-specific details, the real nuts and bolts of every pipe, pump, and valve in the place. And inside those categories, you're going to find documents just like these. We're talking about the design basis, the stuff that explains the why behind the design. You've got your detailed engineering drawings, your P&IDs, your calculations. You've got critical info on safety systems like interlocks, and of course, the ever-important material safety data sheets. A perfect example that probably everyone has seen is the Material Safety Data Sheet, or MSDS. It's a fantastic piece of PSK in action.
It's standardized, it's recognizable, and it gives you vital, easy-to-find info on a chemical's hazards and how to handle it safely. It's a fundamental building block of the whole system.
But listen, just having all this stuff isn't the end of the story. Not even close. It has to be managed. First, the information has to be accurate and up to date. We call it evergreen. Second, you have to actually be able to find what you're looking for when things are hitting the fan. And finally, and this is so important, it has to be accessible to every single person who needs it to do their job safely.
And that really brings us to the one question you have to take back to your own organization. It's something everyone, from the newest hire to the CEO, should be thinking about. Is our collective memory sharp, or are we at risk of forgetting the very lessons that keep our people safe? Because in this world, forgetting the past isn't just a mistake. It can be deadly.